In the outright market, if I had to go small ball here, Xander at 17 to 1 is something I'd look at. And although it doesn't get me going, Morikawa at 26 to 1, I start to kind of get I go from like, you know, I go from like, I go like a roll of quarters, I'm just thinking about it a little bit at 26 to 1. I start to get a little hot and heavy at Hideki at 41 to 1, which is weird. And then in that range, you got Hovland, who I just mentioned, at 45 to 1. This range, it starts kind of happening for me. Um, that's I think your winners are going to come from these, that mid tier range or shorter. As we mentioned, the cream rising to the top here. Also, Ryan Palmer at 70 to 1. We talked about him extensively on the DFS, in terms of DFS, but he's just in fantastic form. He hits it a long way. He's he's where is he? He's 22nd in the FedEx Cup. He's got to have a solid week to play next week and get to East Lake, which he doesn't have a whole lot of opportunities to be at East Lake. So I think he's motivated. Almost won Memorial. I can always talk myself into some Ryan Palmer for whatever reason, but lately it's been good. It's been good. 70 to 1 there. In terms of long shots, like really long shots, I mean, Kokrak at 100 to 1. Brendan Steele at 110 to 1, both playing well, both striking the ball quite well. Those are big numbers for guys that are in good form, that are that check the boxes in terms of distance, in terms of strokes gained off the tee, strokes gained approach. Kokrak's not really a winner. We've not really seen Kokrak ever win anything, but he's 100 to 1. Like, throw a little quarter unit on that, call it a day. So that's about it for me in the outright market. I mean, I could see, you know, that Decky, Hovland, Palmer trio kind of being an anchor to my betting card for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you look at this, as far as making picks, I mean, we were right there together. I mean, the three top guys I mentioned, or I was going to mention here, were Hideki at 40 or 41 to 1 on DraftKings, which is just a weird number. I'm just going to say 40 to 1, Hovland at 45 to 1, and then Palmer at 70 to 1. Were kind of my three guys that I really like. I like Patrick Reed at 35 to 1. I think that's just a good number for a guy like him, of his caliber. And then I think Gooch, if you're going really long at 150 to 1, I think is a decent play as well. So I'll look at that also. But outside of that, there's not a whole lot right now that I'm really looking at. But
I guess if
yeah,
you're going to and I think we've seen that a little bit, if you're going to have a big event like this, it's a playoff event that is, full of really, really, really world-class players with, it's possible that a young guy with no win on the PGA Tour, like a Taylor Gooch, could come up, and if it's going to happen, it's more likely to happen when there aren't any fans. We already talked about, we already saw Morikawa talk about when he won the PGA, how he felt like it was easier. He thinks it was a little easier being without fans. We've had other players mention, I think Paul Casey said the same thing, that it was a little easier possibly for these young guys, that these inexperienced guys, to come down the stretch and pull out a win without fans. Because I look at a guy like Taylor Gooch, I'm like, man, I mean, I love Gooch as much as the next guy. Trust me. Okay. But the odds of him winning this event are very, very bad. But if he were ever going to, it would be when there aren't fans around, I think,
yeah, yeah. No, I hear you there.
Um, top 10 bets. I got three of those. I mentioned two of them on the show. The first one is Danny Lee, 14 to 1. Danny Lee finished 18th last week, hits the ball a long way, kind of a streaky player, and he's had a couple of decent finishes here lately. And he's a winner on the PGA Tour. It's been a while, but he's a winner on the PGA Tour. And he's a streaky guy. 14 to 1 is the biggest number I could find on a guy that I was halfway comfortable with a top 10. Max Homa at 12 to 1, I think, is another really interesting play for a top 10. Great ball striker, plenty long. I think we'll come out here with kind of that attitude of like, I don't know. I just feel like his attitude is always so great. At any moment, he could turn it on. Form hasn't been great in the last couple of weeks, but I think he could do it. And then Joel Damon at 10-1 for a top 10, I think is something to look at. Again, he's 41st in the FedEx Cup standings. He needs a top 10 to play next week. He needs a top 10. And when Joel is motivated, that's what we do know about Joel. If Joel can get himself motivated, he can be a really good player. There are plenty of times though where I think he struggles to keep himself in it, like keep himself motivated. But I think he's going to be motivated to make it to Eastlake.
Yeah, I feel like this is a good week for him to be motivated.
Yeah.
If he's not, something's wrong.
You make it to Eastlake, you're automatically in every major, all the WGCs. It's a big deal, and obviously you have the chance to win a lot of money. I mean, I think even dead last wins like 300 something grand. So, and Joel loves money. So I think Joel is going to come out here ready to go. So a top 10 at 10-1, I think is good money for sure. You got any other top 10s or anything?
No, but I would like to do something I've never done on the podcast. Can I do something I've never done on the podcast?
Oh, wow. Sure. Be my guest. Who are you calling?
My son.
Oh, God. Ooh, is he going to screen your call?
He's going to screen my call.
Doesn't he know you're trying to make show history right here? Why are you trying to call him?
Because he's not doing what he's been told to do.
We're going to see Dad Pat come out?
Yeah.
We're going to see, what have you told him to do that he's not doing?
Harrison? Your dad is in the middle of a podcast right now, and I keep getting texts that you are not doing what you are supposed to be doing, that means being off electronics and going to sleep. So you better do it right now before I come up there in the middle of this podcast. Now. And if you go downstairs and Mom gets made aware of this, you're really going to feel the wrath. So you better get off right this second. All right. Good night. I love you. Go to bed.
That must have been pretty bad. I mean, you haven't done that in 5 years of us doing the show. It must have been pretty bad. I mean, you really got him though, man. I mean,
I know you're probably seeing me looking at my phone and all this stuff because my youngest son now has a phone now also. So all I'm hearing from him is he's not going to bed. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. So it's just driving me crazy. Not quite sure what my wife is doing. But anyway, that's beside the point. Where were we? I don't have any top 20 bets, but top 10, the only one I'll bring up was, just off a good performance last week with the T11, Harry Higgs at 16-1. I think that could be an interesting play as a top 10,
I looked at that.
Type. So I like that as well. I don't have any top 20 if you got any, but
I don't.
I certainly
remember when I said that was when you were getting text about. There are a couple of head-to-head matchups, though, that I want to look at. First of all, I'm interested in Xander at even money with Bryson. I just like the form better, the consistent form out of Xander, the iron play, the fact that we're in a FedEx Cup event with Xander. I like his chances against Bryson. Number one. I can't say that one. I'm too scared to say that one. Let's see.
I got one that I really like
because
I just don't think, as much as I think Patrick Reed might be a decent play from an outright bet, head to head with Harris English, you're getting plus 100 on Harris English, who's playing as good as anybody.
Wait a minute, are you really? That line's moved because I wrote that down different.
No, it's plus 100. I'm looking at it right now. I mean, I could.
Yeah, I would love that. That's even better. He was at English was minus 106. Reed was minus 118 earlier.
Yeah, no, you're getting plus money on Harris English right now in the matchup.
Yeah, I like that.
So, I mean, I think that's a good matchup as well.
I like Ryan Palmer plus 100 against Kisner.
That one's close for me Because I think they're both in really good form, but Kiz is probably the one that's like the most inconsistent of the two. So, which is weird to say because I think Palmer can be inconsistent also. But
yeah, he can be. Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I definitely think I think the line is right. I think Kisner should be the heavy favorite. I think the line is right. I just like betting. I like betting a dog that I like, and I like Ryan Palmer. So if he's a dog against a guy like Kisner that can go on a run, but then follow it up with a freaking T64 this week, I don't know. I like that one.
Yeah. I mentioned Gooch earlier as a bet. I like him over Mark Hubbard. He's matched up against Mark Hubbard. I think Hubbard's
he's
the
been
favorite.
Consistent though, man.
I mean, Gooch is the favorite, but I don't know.
Gooch is not the favorite.
No, sorry, Hubbard's the favorite.
Hubbard's been consistent, man. He's been he doesn't get himself in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
He putts great. That line, I get that. That line isn't as attractive to me as some others, but I think Louis Oosthuizen even money with Kevin Na is interesting, considering Louis' recent form, Na's propensity to withdraw, right? Oh, I guess Louis is the same way. But Louis' recent form, Louis' distance is way more of an advantage here. I mean, that driver long and straight here versus Kevin Na, I just really like. I really like the even money there. And then the last one that I really like is a guy we haven't mentioned yet, and that is Corey Connors, even money on Brian Harman. You mentioned Brian Harman. You like Brian Harman, but I was glad to see Corey have a good week last week at the Northern Trust. Kind of under the radar good week. And Connors is one of these guys that he tends to he's similar to, I don't know, he tends to top 25 it or miss the cut. And he topped 25 last week. The irons have started to come back around. He had lost the irons a little bit. Leading into the PGA, he had kind of lost it a little bit. He's always struggled with the putter, but last week he was almost neutral with the putter. His best putting surface is bent grass. So I don't know. I kind of like Connors. I like that he gives you a better ball striking distance edge over Brian Harman at even money. I'll take it.
I don't mind that. I like Harman, but I don't mind that bet.
I was looking at some U.S. Open odds recently, Pat.
Oh, wait.
What?
I forgot about that. I was too, and I just threw away my sheet. All right.
Yeah, I just think it's a short field this week. We what else we got to talk about? Let's talk about the U.S. Open a little bit. Just some early numbers I'm looking at in the shorter ranges. We talked about it's winged foot. You got to be in the fairway at winged foot. It's a typical U.S. Open setup. Xander at 20-1 right now. You can get on DraftKings Sportsbook. Webb at 25-1. I've got written down. Finau at 40-1. I've got written down. And then two guys at 66-1. Scotty Scheffler. I mean, I think you could see another rookie win a major here with no fans. I mean, Scotty could have won the PGA. Playing as well as he's playing right now, his length, 66-1, and Louis is at 66-1. I looked at that number originally when I saw Louis, and I was like, why is Louis the same as Scotty right now, given his form? But when you think about Louis' performance in majors, he's like
Brooks Koepka light when it comes to majors.
Yeah, he's got the runner-up in every major. Yeah. He's been runner-up in every major. He's never, hadn't won one.
Yeah, he has.
Oh yeah, he has. He won the
Open Championship at St. Andrews.
Oh yeah, in a playoff. Was it a playoff?
Zach Johnson and Mark Leishman. No, Mark Leishman was Zach Johnson won against Mark Leishman. No, when Usti won at St. Andrews, he won going away. Everybody was pissed because he was just hitting every freaking fairway and he never would make a mistake. So, yeah. I
just think his record in majors, it looks like he's rounding into a little bit of form right now. Obviously we're a little, we're a few weeks away from this, but 66-1 is an interesting number. And then a long shot that's playing so good right now on the European Tour is Sam Horsfield, who just got him an exemption just got an invite into the U.S. Open this week. Sam Horsfield, young guy, won twice in the last 3 weeks on the European Tour. He's 150 to 1. I think that's an interesting long shot to look at right now.
So the ones I looked at, and again, I think it is interesting. Like everybody tends to bet, these, when we're looking at event to event, you're only going to get the odds out, that week. Like for this week, we just got them out, like, in the last day or two. But for the majors, you're getting them out early. So there's a good opportunity for you to kind of get in before anybody does something or the odds shorten or whatever. So I think that's one good reason that I like looking at like the U.S. Open this week. And I'm with you on Webb, like at 25 to 1. I think that's a good number for him. He's just played incredibly well since the restart. He's won a U.S. Open before. He's just got that type of, mentality to win a U.S. Open again. So I like that at 25 to 1. Another guy, though, 28 to 1, Berger. Like, he is just on a mission. He is just on a mission right now. He is playing good every single week, has never won a major before. I think he can, win almost any event he's teeing it up at. It doesn't matter what kind of course. So I like Berger this week. I mean, at the U.S. Open. I like Fleetwood at 40 to 1. I don't like how he's playing right now. I don't like that. But I think you're getting a higher number for him at 40 to 1 than you would if he had been playing good recently and showing good form. I think that's the reason I like Fleetwood, is not necessarily right now, but I think in a few weeks from now, we've seen him get a little bit better. He played a little bit better last week, and he's kind of figuring some things out. So I think that number's just good right now, and it could shorten up if we see better form from him in the next 2 weeks.
Well, but I also think you could sit on it for a second because we did see him miss miss the cut last week, or no, he made the cut last week. He just maybe but he's out of the playoffs is what I meant. He missed the top 70 number, so he's not in.
Yeah, he missed the top 70 number.
We're not going to see him the next couple weeks.
Yes.
Maybe those odds. I mean, I doubt the odds get shorter with him not playing over the next couple weeks.
But I think they're about as long as you could have gotten for Fleetwood. He basically just like made his odds for the U.S. Open as long as they could have been because of his play the last few.
That is an interesting take, though. I like that call. I like that call.
And then you look at some longer odds guys. I mean, I like Billy Horschel at 100 to 1. I think he's another guy that could play well in this event. I like Ryan Palmer. I think did you mention him at 125 to 1?
Yeah. I
like him. And then Joel Damon at 200 to 1. Another guy that on a course that if he's, playing well, I think he's a guy you're getting a very long odds on. But so 200 to 1 Joel Damon I like as well.
Love it. Little U.S. Open talk, little U.S. Open chatter.